with our episode 1, where we discussed about how hotel industry is sailing through the current crisis, followed by episode 2, where we discussed about the redefining sustainability and brand redevelopment, followed by impact on workforce due to slowdown. Then in the episode 4, we discussed about the future of manpower in current scenario, energy conservation specifically for AC and kitchen equipments. Then we had our episode 6 on 30th of April, where we discussed the road to recovery, both for global as well as domestic market. We had some very good discussion on import substitution in our episode 7, followed by episode 8 we had on domestic tourism, the way forward. Then we have back to back two episodes on one good topic, which was food safety and kitchen hygiene. And the last episode, that was episode 10, we had on 28th of May, where we discussed about the front of the house reopening and sanitization. By any means, if you have missed any of our past episodes and you want to hear a word about them, you can visit our website. From there, you can switch to our YouTube channel, or you can directly go to YouTube and search for Happy Hotelier Clubs to have the recording of all the previous episodes. So let me formally welcome you all to Slowdown episode 11. This point of time, I would request Ms. Tarandeep Pearl to kindly introduce our guest speakers for the day and the episode partner. Over to you, Taran.
Thank you, Dheeraj. This episode is going to be very, very powerful because the stalwarts of the industry are there who would guide us for the right communication strategies which they have been adopting in their place of work, and they'll be sharing it with the forum today. Now, I take the privilege of welcoming Mr. Himmat Anand. He is a name in the travel industry. Everybody knows him. He got into the entrepreneurship journey in the year 2007 when he actually went ahead and decided to, the Tree of Life Resorts and Hotels is his dream. And since 2010, he's operating in 8 locations, and through 3 more are scheduled in this year. He's also recently launched a dog story that provides gateways for the pet lovers and traveling, and all those who want to travel with pets. As everyone knows, he was an ex COO of Kioni Destination Management, and he was taking care of both India and South Asia. We welcome you, sir. We also welcome Seema Roy. She's the Area Managing Director Marketing for Preferred Hotels and Resorts. She manages all the marketing programs, marketing alliances, and partnerships, as well as company's global guest loyalty program, which is called I Prefer. Before joining Preferred Group, Seema was working in various roles with prestigious organizations like the Oberois and the Imperial. We welcome Seema. I also hereby take the pleasure of welcoming Ruchika Mehta. She's a corporate director, brand marketing, APJ Surendra Park Hotels, which is a 50-year-old Indian luxury hospitality conglomerate. Celebrated as a young leader at various forums, 40 under 40 forums. She's been awarded at various platforms. She's been the Woman Super Achiever in Marketing and Communication at the prestigious Femina's World Women Leadership Awards 2017, Most Admired PR Professional by Lonely Planet Travel and Lifestyle Leadership Awards 2017, to name a few. And she's been acknowledged by Times Travel Awards in 2019 as the best leader in public relations. We welcome you, Ruchika. I also take the pleasure of welcoming Pratyush Mohapatra. He's taking care of the marketing of JW Marriott Resort and Spa in Missouri. He's a dynamic professional and a young leader who focuses a lot on out-of-box thinking, and he's a big implementer as well. Prior to this, he was the Western Pushkar Resort and Spa, Aerocity, the pre-opening of the Western Kathmandu and Kolkata. We welcome you, Pratyush. We also welcome we welcome EcoCare because they are the episode partner for today. They're a team of experienced people who have worked in hospitality, beverage, dairy industries, food, and pharma. The founders are Arvind Verma and Monica Verma. Arvind Verma is a qualified chemical engineer, and Monica is MSc Biotech from IIT Roorkee. They are closely associated with these industries to fulfill their cleaning and sanitization needs. During the program, we will hear more about them. We would like to start the episode, by just starting on the situation which is today. Of course, COVID-19 has drastically changed the way businesses are run. There will be changes in the way business communication is happening with all our stakeholders, both internal and external. And since this is an unprecedented global crisis, I think all the communication strategies which we are making right now, they have to be evolved with times. So my first question would be to Mr. Himmat Anand. Since we've been seeing, what you've been writing in LinkedIn and various other articles, domestic tourism is showing a boost up, and there is a lot of light towards domestic tourism at the moment. So, since your resorts are all 5 to 7 hours from the source market, what do you think will be the marketing and communication at your end so that the customers get attracted and they start booking with your resorts? Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Taran, for having me here. Before I answer your question, I would like to make one observation. And I find you have amongst your participants a lot of people who are still students in their second year, third year in the various hotel management schools. I think that is extremely encouraging. I've yet to come across a seminar where you had youngsters participate. It's all of us from the industry always. So great going, all you guys who are studying. Difficult times ahead, but I'm sure you'll come out with flying colors as and when you finish your course. So coming to your question, Darren, yes, the Tree of Life resorts are all small in size. And when I say small in size, it was one of our non-negotiables when I started this brand 10 years ago, that we will not have more than about 20 to 22 keys in every property. So our smallest property today is 11 rooms in Windsor, and the largest is 18 keys in Varanasi. The way I see it, the domestic driving holidays will be the first to take off. And what are clients going to expect when they travel? They're going to expect to have to go to properties which are a little bit outside the city, not in the city centers. They're going to expect properties which have less number of rooms, and they're going to expect properties which are in large open spaces. And that's where the Tree of Life fits in beautifully, because these were all our non-negotiables when we started 10 years ago. I at that time didn't realize Corona is the one which is going to make this a sort of a desired brand model. But yeah, this is what clients are going to expect. So this is where our focus is, to tell all clients that you don't have to walk through corridors, you don't have elevators to take, because I do believe that city hotels will have a little bit of a tough time uh, in getting back to work. I see flight holidays coming up only by about October, November. I doubt flights, leisure holidays are going to go start before October. People are still going to be hesitant taking flights. So our focus is, your car is your safest bet. Get into the car, drives 5 to 7 hours, like you said, and you can be at a resort like ours. And there are many like ours, not only us, who are working in this space. So that's what gives me the confidence that by July, and we already actually have started getting bookings coming in for early July, because about a fortnight ago, we already announced our opening on the 18th of June. And at that time, I had no idea. I only had a gut feel that by the first week of June, hotels will be allowed to open. And sure enough, they were allowed on the 8th of June. The unfortunate part is there is still so much of flip flop happening, where some states are still now pushing the opening to the 1st of July. There is Rajasthan, there is Goa, there is Uttarakhand, there is Himachal, and a couple of more states who are now saying that we will only allow hotels to open by the 1st of July, which is a bit of a dampener. But well, I think we've sort of got used to living in this yes and no scenario of operating. So yeah, we'll see as and when the government allows us. We are all ready to go. Uh, why I believe it is important for hotels to start opening up quickly is that till we don't open, we will not spread a feel good factor. We will not give a feeling of confidence in the market. So I know some hotels are saying we'll wait and watch. You may wait and watch as wanting to protect the bottom line, but I think in the interest of the larger industry, it is important for hotels really to open up, even if it's with 20, 30% of your capacity. Please open up, spread that feeling of normalcy, and that's what takes us forward there.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. I would also like you to share with us, what new things which you are planning to do at your end, because that will also help us, help the participants to really gauge, what are the new ways of attraction, for the new customer who can walk in, and of course your loyal people also.
So I think hotels which are going to take the normal path of giving discounts and say stay one night, get the second night free, I think these guys will be in for trouble, because these are ways and measures which have been carrying on forever now. Uh, you in a crisis situation, I always believe you really need to come out with a differentiator, with something which you do a little bit different. No matter how small it is, the idea is to create an impact. So it came to my mind about 2 3 weeks ago, or longer actually, probably, yeah, 5 weeks back, that and it was like done in a humorous manner, but it caught on very well with our clients, where I was of the opinion that for the last 70 days everybody's been locked in at home. So, right, husband and wife are together, staying under the same roof for 70 days, and I refuse to believe that they didn't get on each other's nerves. I mean, we need our own space at the end of the day. That's a given. So I started a program and we just hashtagged it some me time. And in some me time, the idea was that if you're really wanting your own space, you've had enough of being with everybody. So either the husband or the wife wants to get away on their own. We came up with this crazy offer that in some me time, I'll give you a room on single occupancy at any of the Tree of Life hotels at a bizarre rate of 2,900 rupees a night. Now, all our properties sell some 10,000 rupee upwards. But I said, let's introduce it to the market. And I launched this hashtag some me time only on single occupancy. And you won't believe it, within about a week of launching this, we already had some 7 8 firm bookings. And I had people calling me and saying, boss, I'm going to book with you because I want to get away on my own. So I think everybody has to see what fits in with their brand personality. And I think the first booking for Some Me Time was already on the 27th of June in Jaipur. There were 3 guys who said, okay, we're going to go out on our own. Unfortunately, Rajasthan is now saying 1st of July. So we'll have to sort of push their booking by a week. But I would urge all hoteliers to please think away. Don't just start discounting 20%, 30%. Discounts are going to be very important to get the market confidence back. And I firmly believe that if you want to give in an attractive offer, go the whole hog. This 10%, 15%, 20% is not going to help you. So the Tree of Life, what we've done is we've come out with a very aggressive discounting of 50%, which is valid for 2 weeks from the time we open. Idea is not crashing prices. Some people called me and said, boss, you're crashing prices. No, I am not crashing price. I am here to get the market activated. And in a situation like this, which is a disaster situation, pricing is going to play an importantly huge point. So let's give it the best. I think at this time, your pricing is not what is important. What is important is occupancy of your rooms, because that is what is going to bring back confidence in the market. And that can only happen when you have a good product, balance it with a good price, and send it out there.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. I think it's a very realistic step which you're taking, and your me time package will definitely rock, because everybody is really, really fed up sitting in the locked houses, and you will really rock. I'm telling you, with this package.
Thank you.
Okay. My next question is to Seema Roy. Seema, the compelling communication messages with more authenticity and purpose is the need today. So how do you think this is happening, both from the perspective of domestic and international, more on, towards international perspective? If you can just throw light, how different properties are reinforcing trust and confidence through their internal strategies and systems.
Thanks very much, Tarun, for having me here. And my apologies, I'm not being able to change my name there. So as Tarun said,
Okay.
I am Seema Roy.
Okay.
On the
Sure.
screen, though, it shows differently. So just coming to your question on communication, I think I couldn't agree more. Sensitive, authentic, honest, and timely communication is indeed the need of the hour. And that's what we are trying to practice. That's what we are encouraging our hotels to practice. All our communication today, given the situation the whole world is in, I think needs to reflect empathy, needs to reflect care, whether it's for associates, whether it's for your guests or your trade partners. And it would go a long way in fostering a sense of community and ultimately instilling that faith and rebuilding confidence in travelers to come back to the hotel. I think what we, as most hotel chains are doing, what we at Preferred are looking to do, in fact, is to bring that out transparently. We are actually updating safety policy of every single hotel of ours on the website. We're wanting to make sure that it's easily accessible. It's right up front. We were, in fact, in terms of communicating with the consumer, we were one of the first brands to reach out to our I Prefer loyalty member base. Basically advising them of protecting their tier status, advising them of extending points validity. This was way up earlier, actually, during the crisis itself. And again, that was a part of just making sure it's timely communication. Um, I think we as a chain have about 750 hotels and that are operating in across 85 countries globally. So we're encouraging hotels to find creative ways to recalibrate luxury. Basically to recalibrate the experiences they have. I think to Mr. Anand's point, discounting pricing is not going to help in the long run. So to create that value proposition and ramping up guest safety should not take away from the luxury experience or the experience that the hotel offers. We're trying to tell them to make sure that cleanliness doesn't become clinical, and all the practicalities do feel personal and playful. And hotels are finding ways. Internationally, we've had some hotels that have come back to us. They're already coming up with suggestions or ideas or best practices, such as keeping a single butler throughout your stay, having a housekeeper assigned to your room whilst you're there, and of course, taking personalization to new heights for guests, especially staying at high-end standalone villas or serviced apartments. In terms of hotels communicating, I think this has been a time for us to inspire travel, to gain that trust back, to get that faith back. A lot of hotel communication revolves around that, around inspiring travel and making people believe in travel. Our communication, in fact, is revolving around that. That's one of our. That's actually the ideology that we have, which is #Believe in Travel. We have hotels that have, again, like I said, upfront on the website, put out their hygiene and sanitation policies, or they've actually come up with amazing videos, where it's a check-in to check-out experience that you can see on video. So, you have that comfort level when you're actually going to that hotel or you're booking that hotel to say that, this is exactly the experience I'm going to get. We've had a partner hotel of ours, Palazzo Versace, in fact, in Dubai. They're selling some e-gift vouchers on the website, just saying that you can buy them and use them for a variety of experiences at the hotel. There are dialogues and discussions around hotels wanting to do live streaming of back areas to create that transparency in communication. I think highlighting of staycations, local values or local offers is definitely up on the priority list for most hotels right now. So internationally as well, as much as in India, our member hotels are doing the same. And of course, I think one of the key there today is social media is probably the most integral and forceful part of this communication strategy. So a lot of them are using social media platforms, not only to engage, but like I said, to inspire future travel. So I'd say, yeah, that's embracing and encouraging all of the above is probably what we are trying to do and do with our hotels. Review currently what you're doing, keep connected with your consumer and trade partners, and be prepared for the future.
Right. Thank you so much. So it's very important to reinforce trust and confidence, because from the guest perspective, that is very, very important. And I think storytelling and story showing, which you just talked about in terms of videos, streaming and stuff like that, I think that is very, very I think it's a in thing which is very important, because otherwise, without that, the trust cannot be regained, right?
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I move to the next question. So Ruchika, I would request you to answer this next question for us. So since you've been doing, a lot of marketing strategies and a lot of communication, both internally and externally, your role has been, really very, very powerful in terms of how to contain these sentiments within the properties, all your park hotels, and for,
Right.
your zone by the park, and also, the external stakeholders. So I think
Right.
there has been a lot of things which has been done under the APG Surendra Park Hotels. So can you please throw light on that?
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you, Tarun, and the team, Happy Hoteliers, for inviting me in. It's a great platform, and thank you for having me with Mr. Anand and Seema and the other fellow panelists. I'm gaining so much of knowledge myself and learning what is happening, also in terms of communications and marketing strategies across, which is phenomenal because we need more such more such dialogues to happen, more such conversations to happen. So thank you for that. Now, coming back to your question, Tarun, yes, there are a lot of activities that are being taking place. As you know, when the crisis hit, the fact is that the communications for a brand really starts is actually the becomes the first thing that needs to be right up there. And I think this is a sort of a crisis that none of us has ever seen. None of us have ever predicted. It's one of the most unpredictable crises, even though, if I may say so, as hoteliers, I guess we are so used to dealing with crisis, right? We have seen all kinds of crises from being, from small unit level, hotel level crisis to, I think in my own personal career, I've seen from murders to drug dealings to some kind of license issues. I mean, we've seen it so much that you always feel that you can learn, you know how to deal with a crisis. But something of this paramount. I mean, even for that matter, the 9/11 crisis. I mean, the first industry that gets affected is always the travel and the tourism. It's always the hotels and the airlines that gets impacted. But I don't think any one of us was ready for a health pandemic of this level and of this size. I don't think we were prepared we haven't thought about that there could be ever lockdowns, or the countries are going to lock doors, or the states are going to lock doors, and we won't be able to travel, and we will all be curfewed across the world and not just us. So this was something which was very unconventional and actually brought a lot of innovations and brought our role a lot more forefront. And I think a lot of the marketers and communicators will definitely agree that I think our jobs just became so much more than what we usually end up doing. Um, so the first important criteria, of course, while we were communicating, because this is a crisis which has an impact on health and safety. And the fact is that it is not just going to impact the consumer, it also impacts your own staff members, your own team members, and your own employees. As a owner, as a promoter, as a leader in the industry, you are not just, you're not just bothered about the business continuity, you're also bothered about your own members who are there, who are working with you, because everybody is living through such high levels of anxiety currently, because they're also serving people, they don't know, possibly they could get it. So for us, we took a very prolonged form of communication strategy. We were very clear that we are going to be very authentic, like all the others panelists has just spoken, of course, that we have to be very empathetic about it. This is not a time where we need to discuss about what is the occupancy of the hotels. Of course, this is critical and important, but it is also important to talk about what are the steps and measures that we are taking across hotels to ensure safety and security, not just for our customers, but for our employees as well. In fact, before the lockdown started and the COVID had started impacting various other countries, and of course, specifically China, I think most hotel brands, including us, we had started doing the simple measures of body check, temperature check-in, of ensuring that there were sanitizers, high level of sanitizers available across. Employees who were not feeling well were being asked to go back and work from home. Those things had actually already started. I think as hoteliers, we were preempted. We all had preemptive measures a little bit of what was happening. We were smart enough to see what was happening in China, what is happening in the other countries. Of course, we did also at some level in India believe it will not hit us as hard as it is hitting the other countries. But still, all the best practices were being adopted quite early on. Like Seema said, we also started sending our communications both to our outside stakeholders as well as our internal stakeholders at what are the steps that are being taken and what is it that we plan to do in the future. This was of course very evolving because on a daily basis things were changing, on a weekly basis things were changing. We were also not very sure and clear how this is going to pan out. So the whole idea was that we had to be on the forefront leading this and taking charge of the situation. I have to give to the fact that our chairperson, Ms. Priya Paul, and our managing director, Mr. Vijay Devan, were right up front, and we created videos. We ensured that all the employees were first feeling safe and secure, and also feeling safe enough to serve the guests who were coming. We were ensuring the guests who were coming felt safe and secure, that while they're coming here, they will be given a high quality hygiene facilities, and they will also be respected and treated well in case they are found with COVID cases. Because at that point of time, there was really no such guidelines that were governed. Eventually, of course, we had Ministry of Tourism and the WHO giving us guidelines of what is required to be done if you find someone coming and staying in your hotel or coming to eating out is found with COVID facilities. So step by step, these communication channels were kept open, and there was a timely communication channel. If we would be talking once a week with our employees, and let's say once in 2 weeks with our members, our loyal members across the group, we were doing that weekly now, so that there was a timely communication being sent, so that we could apprise them of what is happening on a weekly basis, so they feel more confident. Because this is a time when you all have to feel confident about the product and the brand and the trust, and you will only get the customer back when there is high level of trust. You will only get them back if they believe in you and they trust you as a brand, both from each segment. So we ensured that that continued. And of course, while the lockdown happened, it is very important that just because you might not necessarily be in operation doesn't mean that as a brand you go silent. I think that is the worst thing that one can do as a brand leader, that you just simply go silent. Even if you do not have things to talk, there is a purpose of the brand, and that needs to be very, very strongly communicated. Also, consumers are really sharp and smart, right? You cannot be sounding opportunist. And I think what Mr. Anand and Seema did say by saying that we will give you 1+1 or a 1+2, nobody is really can't get through what we are doing or what we are trying to do. So by sounding opportunist in your marketing strategy is really not what the consumer want to know. They want to understand, can they believe in your product? Can they believe in your brand? Is your brand standing for what it would stand otherwise as well? Is there a continuity in what you say? Is there a continuity in what you believe? Is that purpose coming out very strong and large and in everything that you do? One thing which has been beautiful about our industry, I think we all work together, we all collaborate a lot. And I think this pandemic had shown us how much we all as brands work together. It wasn't about the park, it wasn't about the ITC, the Taj, the Preferred, it wasn't about one hotel. It was all of us sitting together and working together and ensuring that that belief, that safety was being brought forward by all of. Sorry? Okay. So I think the power of collaboration came out very beautifully during this period between all the brands, between all the hotels, and that was very highly visible, and that was also being communicated very strongly. We had collaborations with Condé Nast Traveler happening. We had collaborations with Travel and Leisure happening. We had collaborations coming across from various digital brands who wanted to partner with all of us to showcase that we all are in it together and how we need to work together. The associations were working very strongly towards to ensure that there is a timely communication that is also being sent to the government. Of course, the government is not really doing much about us, which is very unfortunate. Also, this was a time, I think, at some level to understand what is it that your consumer want to hear, and what is it that your consumer want currently, and how can you match that up to the brands that you work for, without again sounding opportunist. So what we of course did was we realized that people are wanting to cook there are so many master chefs coming across, and we started a whole series of Food Reimagined, which is one of our pillars, where we started offering a lot of easy to make recipes where our chefs would come forward. We also started a lot of immunity boosters recipes, because this was a time when people are not really going to buy your product, but they're very keen to engage with you if you're giving them the information that they want. We started a lot of collaborations with fitness experts and started giving out digitally, became really, really active by giving videos across of what kind of simple exercises that you can do home. Eventually, we also realized there was a lot of fatigue happening because the lockdown was simply not getting over and just getting extended again and again. One of our brands, which is someplace else, does live music, has been doing live music for the last 25 years. We decided to do that digitally and bring that alive every day from 7 to 8 p.m. We have more than like 4 lakh views that happens daily on the live music that we're doing. It's absolutely free, but the idea is these are our brands. There is a story which is attached to it. People want to see those stories. They want to hear those stories. They want to engage with us, but they want to engage differently. So we have to hear what the customer want and create campaigns and plans and ideas that will continue to engage them, because this is what is going to bring them back to us when we are ready to open the hotels, because they would know that, listen, this brand was with me, was active with me, and they gave me what I wanted and did not force their product on my face by saying, hey, listen, please buy us. Of course, there were a lot of revenue streams that we all as brand heads have been looking at, be it online, be it, the delivery model, be it the staycations and daycations that we all are working now on and are going to are on are live now with hotels opening up, and that communications continuously keeps going on. On the other hand, Tarun, what we also continue to keep doing with our internal stakeholders is we created a lot of training modules. We actually signed up a few training modules with Coursera and Upgrad. We ensured that the employees, the team members who are working out of home would pick up at least one or two out of them and upskill themselves, so that they do not get fatigued, they do not get mentally disoriented, and they do not feel that nothing is happening, because we have a large operational team, right? And really they cannot do a lot of it by sitting at home. Some of our hotels were already also operational because we have quarantine guests. We had a lot of repatriate guests who were staying with us. We also had a lot of guests who got stuck in a particular city. So of course, there's not a huge business with the hotel. Some of the hotels were still operational because of those. So the continuous measures of what is being done in terms of safety, what is being done in terms of hygiene, what are the measures that we are taking, was continuously being again and repeated, so that everybody is aware that, okay, if we were standing at point X, we are now standing at X plus 10. We even launched a new program that we discussed the other day, Shield, which is an encompassing program, talks about safety, hygiene, design, luxury, and how can we merge that together as for an entire group and a brand. And now we're communicating strongly about it, because we know the hotels are going to get open. People have to come back to it. They should see how prepared we are and how active we are, that we have utilized this time to actually go back, reinvent ourselves, and reopen our hotels.
Right. So this is very interesting, and the most interesting part is, along with all the points, is that your internal development of your internal staff, which I think
Yes.
Park has always been doing, and pushing people to develop their skills while they are at home. I think that is beautiful. So, of course, engagement of the customer at various ends. I think all those ends have been met. You are still live in their minds, and that I think that robust planning of either reaching out to the immunity-based recipes, and likewise, I think that is beautiful, because this is something which is very important. This is called value. So I think this industry does give value to its consumer, not really, expectations are at this point in time, I think there are no expectations right now, but we are building on with our stakeholders on a continuous basis. So I think that is fabulous. Over to Pratyush now. Pratyush, I think JW Marriott Missouri, has been talking a lot about sustainability. So can you just throw some light on that?
No, thank you so much, Tarun, for that question. Firstly, am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Tarun, Ashish, Dheeraj, and for Hotelier, Happy Hotelier Club to actually give us a platform to come and discuss all of this. My co-panelists as well, amazing discussion points. I think
Pratyush,
there's
you're
so
not
much.
clear.
Am I audible now?
You're echoing. Yeah,
Am I
better.
audible
Please
now?
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, better.
So what I'm trying to say is,
No,
firstly,
no, no.
thank
I
you for
think the
giving us
mic has
this.
to be just keep the mic to a little distance. It's
Is that
echoing.
fine?
Yeah, please speak. Then we'll know.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, am I better now? Audible?
Okay, so I would suggest that you hold it, but then keep it bit away from your lips.
Okay, just hold on.
Can you please try now, sir? Oh, you're not audible. You're not audible. Uh, Pratish, you are not audible to us.
He's on mute.
No, no, he is not. Okay, so meanwhile, we are actually
Okay.
getting back.
So I think till he joins, I think this question, sustainability. Seema, you can contribute to this question, please.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks again, Tarun. So I think to your point about sustainability, it is going to be an upcoming trend. But having said that, I think what we've noticed even before COVID, sustainability was on the rise. Our new generation of travel, which is being led by millennials and the Gen Z, it's more about what can we do versus what is in it for me. So it's a lot about that, and I think that's how the decisions of travel are going to be made as well. We've been organizing a lot of market intelligence town halls for our hotels over the past 6 weeks or so, and I have to say, I think in almost every discussion, sustainability came up absolutely up the order in terms of what would be one of the things that travelers will look for, when they start to book travel or when they're ready to travel. So I think it's very, very important for hotels to be able to communicate again, just be able to address and inform all stakeholders on what are the sustainability measures they are taking, how are they contributing to the planet, how are they contributing to the environment, what and how are they giving back to society. So that's
Right.
that's probably not just within India, but globally, I think that's a trend that's on the rise.
Sure. Pratyush, are you with us?
Yes. Am I audible
Yeah,
now?
please. Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank God. I'm extremely sorry for this bad
No, no, that's
network at
okay.
my
Please
end.
go ahead. Please
But
go ahead.
I would straight off come to your question, Taran. I would just suggest that for all of us, in terms of the bigger hotel chains or the smaller hotel chains, or the mid-level hotel chains, kind of marketing that we are trying to show has to be very transparent and clear. And I think I will take an example very shortly. Is Dheeraj's picture, Dheeraj's profile picture that we just saw at the beginning of the presentation is something very, very different than what I'm looking at his live picture right now on the presentation. Of course, no offense to you, Dheeraj, but I think as a hotel marketing strategy, and everyone else would very well agree with us, it has to be very clear, crisp, and trustworthy. When it comes down to what messaging you're trying to show right now, I still remember 2 years back when over communication used to be something that a lot of our consumers dreaded. People used to say that, oh my God, this product is spamming my feed, in terms of digital communication, in terms of emailers, so on and so forth. But right now, post the COVID situation, let me assure you, the more you are communicating to your guests and to your buyers and to your consumers, they are feeling much more assured of your product. So that is where our thinking also comes into picture, that in terms of all of our video strategies, in terms of all our local marketing efforts and sustainability, like with JW Marriott Missouri, we take immense pride, being in a slightly isolated location of 10 kilometers further away from the Missouri town. We are absolutely well located away from the city, as Mr. Anand rightfully said, with a lot of his hotels that are there present in the country right now. We are at a great driving distance from major cities, whether it's Delhi, Chandigarh, Ludhiana, or any other major city that you can think of. But when it comes down to our marketing strategy and communication, we are very, very clear as a property. Keep it short, keep it crisp, but keep it very, very clear in terms of actually what you're doing. Now, say for example, I was having a chat with Taran the other day. She was just about inquiring, like, what different do you guys do? Well, say for example, all the products that we're utilizing in our hotel right now, whether it's the food, food products, the ingredients, all the Himalayan produce is actually sourced from 10 local villages, which are close to a 100-kilometer radius from the hotel. And we have tied up with this great collaborator called as the Green People, also famously known as the Bakri Chap team. So they are the ones who actually supply all the Himalayan red rice, all the locally grown pulses, and we translate that to all our guests. That, hey, you know what, sustainability does not always mean saving electricity or saving power, but in terms of even what you're eating or what is being presented by the hotel at your table, as a guest, what you're consuming while you're there at the hotel is completely sustainable, to an extent that we have actually tied up with the same team who do this unique concept. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. Every year they do this vegan concept called as the Bakri Swayamvar. I know it is a very new project for many people, but imagine this: Bakri Swayamvar is supposedly going to enter its fourth season this year, where JW Marriott Missouri is co-partnering them as a co-host, where they actually promote sustainable living, local hearing of animals, protecting them, and actually conserving them, utilizing their resources, and rather not just killing them into something which is so big that has been covered by Business Traveler, by Outlook, by Condé Nast, all by themselves, and they've been marked as a Harvard case study. So these are these amazing things which are still there out in the country, out in the hinterlands, that we as a hotel are really taking immense pride in showcasing to the entire world. So there goes an answer to your question, Tarun, that how much we should and how much we are focusing on sustainability and local marketing from a
Right,
hotel's
right.
perspective.
Pratyush, the next question also probably you can add value because your property is focusing a lot on weddings, with Shadi by Marriott as a flagship. But then wedding groups are your major TG apart from your leisure traveler and the MICE market. So, what are the innovative marketing strategies which you're planning to do? If you can just add value there.
Sure, sure. I mean, yes, I mean, everyone who's aware of JW Marriott Missouri must be knowing that we are actually known for our picturesque and stunning destination weddings. Our leisure travelers come here to enjoy experiences and activities which are, tailor-made and designed for each and every generation of your family, starting from kids to adults to even your grandparents. I mean, we have these beautiful, unique dining experiences where we take our leisure clients and families to right in the middle of a gushing stream that is the origination of the famous Kempty Falls. And we lay out this beautiful buffet in front of you. But having said that, Taran, when it comes down to weddings, yes, everyone is quite aware of Shadi by Marriott as a flagship product that was launched by Marriott International. We have actually taken a leaf out of Shadi by Marriott as a property ourselves, combined it with all the necessary cleanliness, hygiene, standards and guidelines that have been mentioned by Marriott International, WHO, the local authorities. And we have actually launched this new initiative called as Petite Weddings. Now, for everyone's information, petite meaning small and exclusive. So we have actually rebranded our wedding concept in Shadi at the Hills, called as Petite Weddings, where we are actually asking people to go back to the original trend of a destination wedding. Now, if you all remember, destination weddings used to be the close-knit affairs where maybe not more than 100 people used to travel with the bride and groom along with families, stay put in a beautiful resort in foreign destinations or even domestic destinations like Rajasthan or now a Missouri, and used to have the dream wedding. But over the course of years, it got changed to 300, 400, 500, not even 1,000 people are less now. So we are going to go back to the original trend and asking people that if you get down to us, get down to JW Marriott Missouri with the petite wedding concept, we are going to give you the most hygienic, most clean, and most exclusive treatment and experience that you can think of for your wedding. Like we are getting rid of the entire concept of having a live buffet. We are saying that if you're 100 guests, we are more than happy to give you a sit-down, social distance Garhwali Thali experience. So imagine a Rajasthani Sajan Goat, wedding Sajan Goat being converted into a traditional Garhwali ritual for all of our wedding guests to experience. And trust me, we have already started getting wedding requirements based on this specific trend that we have started. We just closed 2 weddings for the month of July. and that too for 60 guests each. So people are actually buying into this entire concept of petite weddings. Now, when it
That's
comes into,
fantastic.
thank you. So when it comes into leisure travelers, again, I'll be very, very frank and clear. Whatever you have as a property in terms of you're investing so much of time, effort, energy, and of course money in implementing all of these new hygiene standards, training your new people, and of course the early people who are there with your hotel to come into terms with the new normal. We are actually focusing on two very distinct pillars as a property. We are actually promoting two aspects called as reliable luxury and safe is the new luxury. Those are the two hashtags. I know Mr. Anand came up with a very, very interesting hashtag, which I loved, and I'm going to experience that myself. But as a luxury hotel, we are completely with all the partners in this industry that there's no point in discounting. People are more than happy to spend that extra money or even the same amount that they were paying earlier. It's just that how convinced are they are with your product, how safe and secure do they feel within your premises, and that can only happen with direct marketing and continuous marketing. We have built a complete new program called as We Care, where each and every hotel guest touch point is encompassed into a complete digitalized format in a QR code. But if you scan the QR code, all the 245 guest touch points that we have identified and are cleaning on a daily basis can be shown in a complete video in your own phone. So say, for example, if there's a couple who's wishing to see if their baby crib is being cleaned and how is it being cleaned, you actually have a QR code design where you can just click on that, scan it, and see the complete video of how we are disinfecting that surface. And another very
That's
interesting and new thing that we are starting for sure is to give more assurance to our guests that you can walk in anytime to our hotel. And if you're not convinced that, okay, the surfaces are being cleaned in front of me, the car is getting disinfected, the luggage is getting disinfected in front of me, what about the main worry, which is food? I mean, food is being cooked in the kitchen's back door. So we have given complete access to all our guests who are walking in through that door to JW Marriott Missouri, that we are more than happy to give you a complete immersive kitchen tour. Our executive chef would be walking with you, our F&B heads would be walking with you and showing you around, starting from how the vegetables are being picked, to how they're being disinfected, to how contactless delivery is actually being practiced at a hotel. And we're just not talking about it. So we have made a complete video set out of it. We are making our own design collaterals as per that. And of course, we are promoting the Marriott International approved We Care program, which is a complete hygiene and sanitization standard that is being applicable to all the hotels across the region. So yes, so
great.
these are a few nuances that we have introduced to restore the faith.
Thank you, Pratyush. This was very insightful and very, very,